each fabric has kind of its own unique properties that make its care approach unique. So can you share some brief advice on how to care for the most common fabrics? And I don't know if you want me to go down them or you just want to give a general. The ones that were featured in the article were cotton, linen, polyester, silk, wool, and rayon.
So there are really two categories of products there, right? You've got a manufactured product and a natural product. And they're both very temperamental in their own ways, right? And it kind of goes back to that conversation that we were having a little bit ago about how the dyes are applied, because we're trying to do, when we clean, we're really looking at two problems with garments. One, maintaining the appearance of it, which is going to include protecting the color and the sheen of it. In other words, how pretty it looks. But part of that sheen is also mechanical action. So the more you wash a garment, the more mechanical action you put on that garment, the quicker, depending on what it's made of, the quicker, even polyester, it will pill, meaning those little like balls that mysteriously appear on clothes after time. They'll even appear on specific locations of a shirt, like if, like an underarm, like here. If a person's moving that regularly, a lot of fabrics sometimes will pill just from the mechanical action of wearing it over time. So that's the same effect we're trying to minimize in the washing process. There's several things you can do, and again, cottons and other products are going to all be affected by that. Going back to the first item then again is manufactured instructions. Most of the stuff you're going to deal with in wash, dry, fold should be machine washable. Our wash cycles in regular laundry are pretty short. Mechanical action is pretty low. Usually most washing machines, even home washing machines, the actual mechanical action part of the wash cycle and then the rinses. So the washes are usually set up at a max of like 7 minutes. So you've got a chemical reaction of about 7 minutes. You get 7 minutes of mechanical action going back and forth. Then you're going to get a spin. Spins are not that difficult to deal with in laundry because you're putting all the garments on the outside of the drum. They're not moving extensively. All you're trying to do is extract the moisture from it. But in the actual wash cycle, where we're washing and rinsing, and we're trying to break loose, soil, if you overstuff a washing machine, you're gonna, as long as it's not completely full to the point nothing's moving, you're gonna get potentially higher mechanical action. So let's say you have a more delicate load. You've decided you're going to be a really like high-end wash, dry, fold operator, and you're going to set your machines up with a truly delicate cycle. You probably don't want to fill those loads more than 50%. In the wet cleaning world, which is how dry cleaners have gotten around the perk and gone into wet cleaning, which is basically laundry, they never load a wet clean load more than 50%, and frequently on items like sweaters and things that will really be affected by heavy mechanical action. So rayon, silks, these kinds of things that they're controlling the temperature, the mechanical action in, and we can't do that with our machines, but you can get close to it on a delicate cycle. They're loading it only like 15–20%, so very, very low levels of garments in these machines, and they're very low mechanical action. It's more like a quarter of a turn, boom, 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 where you can put a delicate garment in there where you're getting some little bit of movement in the water and still getting some clean action with the chemicals. So the things, if you're really looking at delicate cleaning, the thing that I would say, which I've told people for years, is invest in a tub where you can fill and hold that tub. I know one of my friends, Rob Mays, built one of these things and had actually a lot of them in his laundry. And another friend, Paul Pettifer, did the same thing. They took 55-gallon drums and they insulated them, and they put a drain spout on them so they could fill it with water that was, really, it needs to be over 80 degrees. But when you get to that 80 to 100, you're really pushing the potential for fabric damage by temperature. But anything over 80 degrees, if you can hold it at 80 degrees, you can use it 100% enzyme detergent. And you can do what every wedding dress cleaner does in the country, and that is you basically soak the garment in a high enzyme detergent at 80 degrees and hold it at 80 degrees for several days. Sometimes you'll maybe refresh the enzymes in it. And you can, if you have the time, it will virtually clean anything. I had a friend of mine bring in a jacket that her father, when her father died, that was really precious to her. And it had been stored for like 10 years. He was a smoker, and it had stains on it that were over 10 years old. And she said, is there anything you can do to save this jeans jacket that was embroidered? And so all kinds of unknown equations here, right? We don't know how it was embroidered, what the color safeness of the embroidery was. We don't know, how well the jeans were dyed, and what the long-term effect of like sun and where it was stored. All these things are things that you're really worried about. I wasn't extensively worried about it because I was able to throw it in an igloo cooler I had and put water in it that was 100 degrees, which I felt safe with, and I enzyme soaked it. It took me 3 soaks, but the jacket came out with a bunch of stains on it prior. It came out virtually perfect, better than any dry cleaner could have done. And you can do that exact same thing if you want to invest in the time. What would you charge for something like that? Restore. I mean, there are companies that do restoration of precious garments that charge enormous amounts of money, but this is all they're doing. And then you want to air dry it, hang it and let it go. And maybe when it's completely dry, you put it in a tumbler, a dryer with no heat or low heat for a few minutes to loosen it up. And now you've got a beautiful garment completely restored. And it's something every laundry operator is technically capable of doing if they wanted to. And that's how I would treat all of these really delicate fabrics that are listed. Linen is a big one. Mechanical action on linen will flat out destroy it because that's just how it's built. It's a very, very loose woven cotton. And if you apply any mechanical action to it, you're going to literally tear it apart. It'll become deformed and out of shape within minutes, and you're basically screwed. I can go on for days, but I think that gives you a good idea.